Endurance and patience is important because the first 2-3 years are crucial for any business. And I know from my experience as well how hard it is in the how to develop clients. So being an entrepreneur, a little trying to be still.
I get all these, marketing messages all the time. I'm sure you do too. Like, we know you're having problems. It's like, you don't know what problems I'm having, and I don't know what problems you're having. But I know if you tell us what problems, we can easily tell you if we can help and about how much it's gonna cost.
Regarding marketing messages, last weekend I got one funny thing. This is on Sunday. I think it's from DoorDash though. It said, like, I know you're hungry and it's brunch time. You need to go into the park and order some food.
Sell our data, everyone, so that they know what to sell us, and then buy a bunch of stuff and die, and then our kids clean out our houses.
The best thing about my job is like talking to clients, asking, like understanding what they need and what problems they have. Mine is on hardware side, not on software.
Yeah, and this is one thing I'm not great at. I've really never been a great manager, but trying to, because I get frustrated and, not patient sometimes. But my job now is to get other people better to the extent that I even can.
The communication bridges should be there to form one healthy relationship between two people and growing. What do you think next stage of Slinger is?
We do actually a lot of work in.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's podcast episode of Founders Decoded. Today we have our special guest, Grace Schroeder. Thank you for being a guest in our podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
A little about Grace is that she's a CEO of Slinger. She started building Slinger from 2011, and it's been 14 years, the company. And the company is still growing and making a lot of progress. And what else? She started with a finance background and started a low-code platform in 2011, which is very interesting, seeing like most of the low-code companies started coming after ChatGPT has been released in 2022. And in your words, a little bit about yourself and where did the story start of Grace?
So thanks so much for having me, Renat. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with the audience. And I started the company based on sort of my observations of working in large and smaller companies. Always sort of had an interest in process improvement and boring things. Like, always thinking there has to be a better way. So whenever I crashed into something manual, and even as I became to understand more about technology, I was always thinking on, well, how could technology help this? Even without a background, I'm a psychology major in college. And so when I started in financial services in high school, I opened a day trading firm, got closer to technology, wound up at Transamerica, and I started playing around with, just as personal computers started to hit the desktops, other types of tools like interface tools or mainframes that you were dragging and dropping, using tab buttons to move fields around on a page. And I thought, well, that's pretty nifty. And that all of this experience kept informing my belief that there was a way to create custom software faster than there was to configure off-the-shelf products. And so about 2011, 2006, really, I was at a telecom. I started noticing web development firms start to configure Sugar and BTiger and some of these open source frameworks to do CRM. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And then I saw the big software as a service products come up. But that last mile of automation to the customer never seemed to get addressed. And that's why you have these big systems, but then you also have these big spreadsheet departments that are the gap fillers around the big system. So today, fast forward to today, we managed to get into the low-code space really before there was a name for it. We had a healthy customer base. And now with AI, the pairing of custom, rapid to create, rapid to adapt software solutions with all sorts of new AI looking for a way to home itself into a workflow, it's really the perfect combination. It's a great career path for highly technical people. It's a great career path for people that are are not that technical, but technical curious. So I think it's really opening up a whole new range of opportunities for people that don't want to spend 5 years in a cave, coding Java.
I agree with you. Like low code kind of opened a lot of opportunities for people building platform in weeks instead of like months and years, even before testing out customers. Sometimes like the customer base and you just build it, throw it in Hugging Face and see how many people download it.
Yeah.
Uh, that's all it takes on today.
Well, and there's fear out there, and I've done a lot of re-educating myself because I slept through history in school, and so I've sort of been re-educating myself on what has happened with technology, how has technology informed human evolution, and you see through all of time, technology freaks people out. Fire didn't seem to freak too many people out, but the printing press did, and the loom did, and but in every case, they have created more jobs. They have created market expansions, and I believe the same thing's going to happen here. So now, I believe and I hope to see that the concentration of software is going to it's going to fracture. So you don't have to be a Microsoft, you don't have to be a Google, you don't have to be a Salesforce, you don't have to be an SAP anymore. Barrier to entries are coming down really, really fast, and you no longer need to own the hardware. You actually don't need to know how to code. You do still. In 2, 3 years, less, but you will still need people to know how to code. But it really expands the opportunity with people that are sort of technically curious, technical with some skills, technical and also interested in business domains. It's a really, really great sort of new world for people that are open to embrace it.
I agree with you. Um, and I consider myself as technical curious, a little bit technical. And I've been having good advantage of the low code apps and trying deploying few at this point. And let's see. And I have a question. Based on 90s comics, every Batman needs a Robin. How did you find your Robin?
I didn't know a lot about creating a software company when I started, and I went through two teams that really didn't take me to the promised land. And I had been, networking in and heard of a person named Diego Gaviola who was working at an outsourced firm in Argentina, and I heard he was unhappy, and I managed to recruit him. And, I would say that someday he's Batman and I'm Robin, and some days he's Robin and I'm Batman. But those two roles are interchangeable. If he's putting a document together that has to go to a client, I'm like, just start it, I'll finish it. And if I don't know what I'm doing, he'll get on the phone, the client. So he's really made all the without having found him, we would not be here today.
I'm so happy that you found your Robin and like how much you value your Robin. And really glad because it's so hard to find the Robin that you can trust, depend, and on.
And that you want to grow into Batman.
Yes,
I want you to be Batman.
yes. Because both are in front lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. And coming back to Slinger, what was how much time did it take you for you to develop Slinger?
So, uh,
I would say months or days.
when you say how long did it take me to develop Slinger,
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I was trying to amass the talent, so probably I failed for 2 years before I found Diego. Oh, but look, what I tell my clients, many of whom are like me, they had an idea and they recognize a market niche, and they want to get into the business. I'm like, well, look, you work with us. I have already made the mistakes on your behalf. I guarantee you, you won't have to throw this away. I guarantee you it will work. Um, and that's where we're trying to leverage our technical expertise combined with the client's business domain and business opportunity that they recognize. And that's really, I think, the winning combination of the future is business people driving the actual development of solutions that don't have to appeal to a major addressable market. They can really focus in on their niche. They can create a software value proposition, unique, directed at specific groups of people for whom it will work beautifully. And then working with a low-code platform, make it adaptable enough so that every time an LLM comes out, you're not diving into, with a new release, you're not diving into 500,000 lines of code trying to keep yourself operational.
Yeah, it is a nice way you kept it, and it is surprising. Like, it's not surprising, I would say, that it was 2 years of failure, but at the same time, like the endurance that definitely took endurance and patience is important because the first 2-3 years are crucial for any business. And I know from my experience as well how hard it is in the how to develop clients, how to so being an entrepreneur a little trying to be still, but I understand the pains and struggles. What else?
Well, look, the struggle for me was, sure, I could always go back and get another job, but I know that every job I ever had, I always identify this problem for that no off the shelf automation could solve. So I knew that I would have the same frustration trying to fix problems without this tool. So it's like, well, the first thing I would do is I'd want to build one of these tools. So I got to find a way to keep going because I know this is going to be, this is going to have the outcome. There's no way. Technology always persists. It gets cheaper and it gets more distributed. It's just a big rule, and it's really playing out now. Now old utility companies, Google, Microsoft, new utility companies, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI. So the utility company, the character, the structure of the utility companies are changing. They're still there, but they're really taking it up the stack, even making it less work at that last mile to give people a perfect automation experience.
I agree. I have one more question following up on for our audience. Like, can you tell more about products of Slinger? Because Slinger is, I came to know when I kept on searching about whom to interview, and it was surprising 2011 low code platform. And for a lot of people who don't know Slinger, can you tell them what are the products that you offer?
So technically, and this has honestly been the bane of my existence because when we started, people would say, well, what's your elevator pitch? And there is no elevator pitch for a low code platform in 2011. That the words didn't exist yet. But our real product is the platform itself on which we build solutions for people. So we don't, from a marketing perspective, we're not selling you like this is what the product, this is what it does. We're selling you what's your business problem, and we're going to hit it precisely with a solution built on a platform versus custom code that integrates well with anything, that auto-generates an API, that has HIPAA compliant, permissioning and features, that has data orchestration across as many integrated applications as you want. It's really that platform to integrate and aggregate all the best cloud services to accomplish whatever business goal you're trying to accomplish. And that's really a solution. It's not really a product. We're selling solutions. And products tend to have a particular roadmap of particular features. Each of our clients has their own roadmap, so you're not waiting for everybody's feature request to get prioritized based on the largest addressable market. It's like, hey, if this feature is important to your business, it's going in. And that's where, in this age of speed, that's where I think it's going to make a big difference for people that are trying to do things that are decisively different.
Yeah, I agree. Like, especially for the companies, they want to hit it precisely. Some companies don't have the AI talent, and but they are looking for solutions that would help them grow quicker. And currently, due to low code, it is easier to build and cheaper to build. So, like, your solution also would be cheaper because you need less people to build it. And
Yeah, because we build the human in the loop interfaces and we bring people along. And this is the under recognized reality is you have to bring your organization along with you. It's not hiring a head of AI and they're gonna spin around and talk to all the stakeholders. No, people that are thinking this way already, they need to be in the organizations. They need to be the ones to say, you know what, I can agentify this workflow. This is how I think it should work. They need to work with us to agentify that workflow. They need to be the human in the loop to saying, yes, the machine is operating the way it wants it to. They need to be the one feeding through refinements. And that's where you start to get sort of an agentification aware workflows that they know how to deploy them, refine them, work with them, and manage them. And that's the piece that's going to be the hardest, I think, is to bring along the human. So we try to include more people, as many as a company would have, and in roles like QA, human in the loop,
yeah,
data cleaning. We offer those as well, but we always pair with people on the client side so that their people are coming up to speed, becoming familiar, because they're the ones that are going to come up. We're not going to come up with the best new automation idea for everyone's company. They're gonna come up with that themselves.
and you're there to build it for them.
Yeah, and it'd be very arrogant for us to say, I get all these, marketing messages all the time. I'm sure you do too. Like, we know you're having problems. I'm like, you don't know what problems I'm having, and I don't know what problems you're having. But I know if you tell us what problems, we can easily tell you if we can help and about how much it's going to cost. But don't presume. I can't presume I know enough about your business to build a product that's going to work for all of you. It's a ridiculous thought right now.
Yeah. Regarding marketing messages, last weekend I got one funny thing. Um, this is on Sunday. I think it's from DoorDash though. Um, it said like, I know you're hungry and it's brunch time. Um, you need to go into the park and order some food to pick and take someone to.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've got my Google Pixel here, and I'm sure as soon as we hang up, it's gonna be like sending me DoorDash ads. Is it definitely listening?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I've noticed that several times. But interesting how marketing messages are getting humanized and humorous as well.
It is, but and it's probably all AI generated humor, but it's also just pressing home the fact that it's starting to feel like our whole purpose on life is to be born, make enough money to buy a bunch of stuff, sell our data to everyone so that they know what to sell us, and then buy a bunch of stuff and die, and then our kids clean out our houses. It's the little dart, sort of one about the meaning of life.
I've been also thinking about that. I I also like initially I thought like, oh, you define your own purpose, but at the same time, like, what does the end of your life? What does it look like? You build bunch of stuff, sell or create a legacy, or give it to kids. Again, retire and die. Maybe travel in between.
Although, if you believe Kurzweil, the singularity is nearer. So we may have a shot, to redeploy ourselves into the cloud. I'll see you up there, Ravon. Hopefully, really is funny and charming.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, and I have a curious question. What is like your non-obvious thing that you do as a person in the morning?
Non-obvious. That I don't think there's anything I do that's that spectacular in the morning other than I don't set an alarm. Um, Not really. I'm not a routine person, so I don't have a non-obvious routine even. I don't make coffee the same time every day. I don't drink coffee every day. I Some days I open the blinds right away, some days I don't. Some days, I live in Miami, the land of too much sun. So I don't know. I don't think I have any really. Everything's pretty obvious. It just doesn't all happen at the same time every day.
Which is a little bit different, I would say. Some people I've met, they want everything in time and they followed. I agree, like you have to follow in time, but also like you have to give a bandwidth so that you're free for things.
I do not book myself all day long. I need to be free for things because, we are an engineering focused company. There's not a huge operations staff. So I tend to get time sensitive things that I have to address or other people are waiting for me. And then, the whole thing slows down. So I leave enough room for that. The thing that I most enjoy doing is talking to my clients that are startups, and just hearing what their vision is and trying to see if there's a way, a better way for them, something else for them to think about. I carry their business objectives in my head and notice things that I think might be able to help them and and maybe it helps and maybe it doesn't, but I really enjoy the passion. I can always tell, the people that are just all in, and I can really relate to that, and I think that's the most fun I have in the job.
That's really fun. And also, like, I also feel the same. The best thing about my job is like talking to clients, asking, like, understanding what they need and what problems they have. Mine is on hardware side, not on software. So hopefully I will keep my job for a few more years, but let's see.
It is tough though, and I'm sure you know this too because and I'm technical out of defense because I've worked in companies where people would just tell you things, and then when you looked under the covers, it was like, you know what, it shouldn't have to cost that much, or it is possible, and you said it wasn't, and so you become sort of tactical just be, because you want to get something done.
Yeah.
Um, so that is the first thing that people, I think, have to be comfortable with is that you're going to need to, it's not where you can just go buy a product off the shelf. There's no product that can solve your AI strategy. But the hard part is like, who do you trust? And so the most fun I have is when we cross over the trust bridge, then things get more interesting because people aren't feeling like, back in the day when websites first came out, everybody was paranoid that they were gonna get ripped off by the web developers because they didn't know what that was even doing. Like, well, how does that machine even work? And the web developer had supreme control over everything, and it was scary to trust somebody. Well, this is even harder because yeah, the website's important, but we build applications that can stop people's businesses cold and by the way, it's a long-term relationship. It's not like you're buying a product from somebody and then you're just going to get hit up once a year on renewal torture by your salesperson. It's a ongoing relationship because our clients continue to develop because they continue to evolve and that's, I think, the model of the future is that you have a technical team that's really alive with your business, walking step by step with you versus I'm going to buy a couple of off the shelf products and try to beat off the renewal guy every year.
Yeah. Which is good, like developing and evolving. It kind of reminds me of like Darwin. people who kind of said like human evolution, and I'm now thinking about like company evolution and how was Slinger 14 years ago and now that is different, and how it is going to be in the future.
So when Deja started, he recruited a couple of people, and they were working out of his apartment with Wi-Fi in Argentina, in Mendoza, Argentina, and that's how the company started. That's how the kernel of the low-code platform, began. And then gradually we moved them into a little office of their own, and then they got lonely because there were only the 6 of them in the little office, so we moved them into a co-working space, and then we grew bigger in the co-working space, and then we opened an office in Buenos Aires. So it was a slow kernel that just sort of started to grow, and fortunately the people in Argentina are just lovely people, and for the most part we've had great experience down there with people that are still with us, with people that have left us. We maintain good relationships. We try to maintain good relationships with people that spend any time with us at all. And we try to be supportive of people's career aspirations. We try to put new challenges in front of people as they find new engagements that they want to participate in. And that's where, we spend a fair amount of time on culture and fit. And making sure that nobody has to put up with somebody that's not necessarily the nicest person. I mean, except for me. But but for the most part, um, we've managed to grow to over 100 people, and just I think a lovely company. We get very excited about successful projects, big wins, and we are on board with our clients and, as they need to be.
Which is, oh, give me a second. I think someone has come. Let's continue. Sorry. Um, which is kind of interesting. Like, as a lot of startups have like started it with the Wi-Fi. Even today, just on a couch with bunch of friends, and which is kind of good because like you trusted them to develop these things, and now two people became 100 plus people, and relationships are important, I would say so, because
More so now than ever.
yeah,
Oh, um, I think that's where marketing will be taking the swing back to human, because it's really that trust bridge has to be crossed. It you can trust the company that selling you a product, and maybe you don't know the people at the company that well, but it's a product, and there's a certain trust there. Now you're trusting somebody to assemble the right collection of tools to solve the business problem that you're trying to solve. That's trust. That's real trust. And that's where, it's a struggle. You can't hurry people. We don't have some rigid one demo and close. Like, here's our end of the month sale on, if you don't buy now, end of quarter, look, we don't, like, I hate that. When a salesperson does that to me, it sort of doesn't even matter how invested I am in the application. It's just like, I hate you now so much that I'm going to migrate off, like irrational anger at the games. Cause I don't think, hey, I don't have time for the games as a business person. And I can't afford to commit myself to a solution for 3 years that I might not need in 6 months. Cause I don't know what the world's going to look like in 6 months. Do you? You know? So, like, great for all these software vendors trying to lock down these 3-year deals to buy themselves time. But I don't think that's what businesses need right now. Businesses need the flexibility to be able to move and shift. If they're locked into something that they can't get out of, it's too expensive for them to replicate on another platform because they just need to change. That's just not good for business. I just think it's sort of highway robbery.
I agree with you because last time when we were talking about, I gave an example of customer service agents where initially like there were few, now there are hundreds of customer service agents in different sectors, and now you have a 6-month lockup or 12-month. most of the things that I've seen is like 12-month lockup and like $299 base minimum for something that like is easily built with like, I would say $100 plus a quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and they try to lock you into a year deal right away. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work for 2 months, and many things work for a month or 2, and then they don't. It's like day trading in the old black box algorithms. Once everybody starts using them, well, the algos pick up on that algo, and then it doesn't work anymore, and that's what I see the early signs of, with a lot of these AI marketing tools.
I agree with you. I'm on your side.
"Mm, we're gonna win. We're gonna win this. I don't know how. I don't even know what the war is, but we're gonna win it."
Just keep on fighting and adapting. Previously, there were sticks and stones. Now it is,
Agent.
yeah, agents, agents and energy. Yeah. It is very interesting how we came though. And what else? What was your favorite moment in Slinger?
Wow. I've had a few. The most recent one was I went to we have a twice a year sort of get together, and this one was a lunch in a vineyard in the March timeframe. And I just watching the whole company at a big long table sharing a lunch, and we probably get 80% turnout at these events, which is spectacular. And, people fly in from Buenos Aires and some of the other areas that we have people, and they all are having a wonderful time. And that really makes me feel great. Yeah, seeing them build houses and have families, which, you know, I've been around long enough to see is just fantastic.
I agree. That's nice. This is like a memory of my childhood as well. Um, I come from business family. My parents are, and they also throw like luncheons or tours with the employees and their families. They used to, and like making them, giving them food. Like it's interesting. Like thinking like how my dad built like the company with like around 20,000 rupees, which is on today's cost is less than $400.
Wow.
And
Just amazing.
now it's almost like 100 employees like you. It's been 30 years, but it's a manufacturing industry. His goal was like to give employment in his town so that he can make an impact and at least feed some families that come with him. So, yeah, some of them even like my dad sponsored education for the kids. And I see like now,
I mean, it's just, I don't think anybody who hasn't done it can really understand, you know, how it feels through the good, bad, and ugly. And you don't really know why. If you had a thinking mind about you and you were a woman that knew nothing about starting a software company, the absolute last thing you would do is try to start a low code platform from scratch in 2011. No sane person would have done it.
I never heard of a company that started in 2011 with his, which is low code company. I never heard, to be honest. And like learning about Slinger, actually, you are one of the visionaries. That's what I think at that point of time, observing the gradual patterns in technology and adapting, learning yourself about technology and growing Slinger, trying to feed like 100 families at this point.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. I think early on, it was sort of a selfish exercise for me. I think I saw myself, it more in myself than corporate America ever saw in me. And looking back now, I was a terrible employee, like a terrible. No surprise anybody put up with me as long as they did. So that's where it started, but then once, you get your legs and you start looking around, it's like all of a sudden you realize this is what else I did and what else we did. And then I becomes we. And then you have people that the company could not survive without. And I'm happy to say that today I've been lucky enough to find the people that if I were to go away, the company would still go on. I have a layer of management and sales and operations now that can replace me, and that is another huge accomplishment. As you know, like your dad is probably like whack-a-mole for years and years doing I do a bad job of 15 things a day, like a terrible job, 15 things, but at least somebody's doing, you know?
I agree. I see a difference in leadership, how you did and how my parents are doing. I think it's just the manufacturing industry in India way, um, where initially they had to depend on a lot of employees, but at the same time, the employees started depending on themselves, where like manufacturing became important, sales became important. But finding like that salesperson or marketing person who would come to a niche of town, which is like in the, I wouldn't say middle of nowhere, but like a little away from cities and little closer to villages, countryside. And it was hard. And currently, like, I'm glad to say, like, they're doing decent and everybody has challenges. They keep on fighting. And one thing I noticed is if they're not there, the whole company falls apart.
Mm. Well, I'm determined not to let that happen because, you know, I'm getting to this point where yeah, I'm very happy to let the kids take over some of the harder work, and I can only do I can do the important stuff if there is such a thing. Um, but I feel like we're there now. We're close to there, and if that feels really good too. The company will be able to sustain multi generations if we don't sell it.
Yeah. That's very nice. Like, to hear the company will sustain and keeps on growing multi-generational, which is like rare to see, but also it's a legacy as well. Like,
And I'm not really a legacy person. I don't have children, and not frankly, I've the portion of the company that I own, I'm leaving to Diego in my will if we don't sell the company before then, and that feels good too, you know?
yeah, which is nice though. Like you're giving Beva
It
and
makes sense. It's not even that. Nothing else makes sense. Zero other offers make sense. So, and I delight in, to do it.
yeah, interesting. And I think like if I'm there running a company, that one thing I want to take away from you is like make things independent from me so that like people will take the tasks and work on and grow. When there is a crisis, I can step in and solve it for them rather than like babysitting them.
And this is one thing I'm not great at. I've really never been a great manager, but trying to, because I get frustrated and it's not patient sometimes, but my job now is to get other people better to the extent that I even can, and that's what I'm trying to get better at myself. And I really believe that that's my job now. Is to get other people believe me, they don't want to take all my advice for sure. I wouldn't tell anybody to do that, but to tell them what I think, why I would make a decision, and the reasons why, and ask them, well, why would you make this decision and your reason, and just foster that communication path that leads to continuous growth and improvement and satisfaction.
I agree with you. Like the communication bridges should be there to form one healthy relationship between two people and growing like other person talent. You want to hear what their side of thinking is and your side of thinking is, so that like what is the best way to proceed forward. It's not always 100% correct. So like when you mix them, it's 90% or 99% correct. So which is good that like you're doing that. And what do you think next stage of Slimber is?
You know, I think we do actually a lot of work in the laboratory information management space, if you can believe it. Um, because our platform supports HIPAA compliance, and we can rapidly build LIMS systems, portals, things that aren't really that well served by off the shelf either, especially as labs move from one type of testing to PFAS testing to environmental testing to food testing, and basically trying to maximize the usage of the equipment that they invest in. But now I think the future for us, the glide path for us, is building AI infused workflows, because there are a ton of companies out there that know it can help, but they're afraid, they don't know where to start. And so that's where we come in. We try to get them to trust, cross the trust bridge by offering a low cost 30-day proof of concept. And we're like, hey, this is what's possible in 30 days. If this looks like something you want to invest in, you can make a business case for. Let's talk about a roadmap. I think that's where our hockey stick growth is coming from. We are making some adjustments in our platform to make it. We're not just putting a AI code writer or some of these other, wrappers around it. We're really embedding it into our full ethos, which is being a platform that's easy to integrate with. We're auto generating APIs today. We're going to auto generate natural language interfaces and some of the other tooling that makes it easier for Slinger apps to communicate via APIs, agents, or with other platforms.
It's very nice to hear when you said auto generating APIs, because like a developer in me is like happy.
Yeah. Well, it's and that way the API documentation is always up to date, you know? You hit the save button, you sync it, and the API documentation is updated, and the API works, and it's permissioned along with all the group permissions. And why should it be harder than that? We're trying to give developers, because we are focused on professional developers versus citizen developers. We're trying to make it easy for them to move past just the plumbing to solve the actual problem. Like, who needs to spin up another database and another instance like a million times? Why not just start with, hey, I need to build this agent that does this, make all the rest of it easy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And also like when you generate APIs, you're actually not paying a lot of companies for APIs.
Yeah. And you do have to look at collapsing your stack. I mean, we this year we're trying to take down a lot of the software as a service that we use and consolidate around our utility company. Like, our utility company happens to be Google. And so we're looking at, what? We use Slack. If now they're Slack's another 300 a month, $3 a user on there for their AI, which we tried and we don't use, right? It's kind of hooked into the Gemini ecosystem. So why do I want to spend $23,000 a year on that? Why I could not as great. Yeah, Google Chat is not as great as Slack. I get it. But will it work for 23,000 a year? Yeah, I think it will. And that's where I think decisions are going to be made. PandaDoc was coming at us last year for a renewal to use their API. And and I went and found DocuSeal, not as good, 20 cents a document, you know? Okay, that's an easy choice. So, and now Google Docs also includes e-signature. So I think the utility companies are going to start to pick off some of these ecosystem partners, because I think they want the data. And I think and they, that way people can collapse their spend on those utilities, and it'll free up the budget to spend on the AI. That's kind of what I see happening. I could be wrong.
Interesting. No, I also a little bit see that But one more thing comes into my mind is like, how does like the utility companies are going to acquire companies?
Well, they've always done that, so
No, this time it is easier and hard at the same time.
I think they call M&A at Google, I think they call it the procurement department. It buys so many companies. But, I think, like, if I look at acquiring companies, I look at private equity who buy a lot of software. I gotta think they're freaking out a little bit because a lot of that software is long in the tooth. It's not AI friendly. It's not agentic friendly. They're all, "We're gonna wrap it." Is it gonna come open to more competition than they have in their models? I don't know. Probably. You know, are there are, I guess we both know there's not a ton of people that have ever agentified anything before. So are they going to go to some of those old line companies? And I don't think so. I don't think the talent's going to go there. So it's going to be a very interesting road. I mean, but a lot of companies, most people and companies tend to be responsive. They're not getting ahead of it. I just don't know like how that is a car going to crash into the wall? Is it just going to skim? I don't know.
But it is very interesting to see like the three M&A companies where it went through Google with, I think, Windsurf, fall apart. Microsoft tried to acquire one more AI company that fall apart. So it was interesting to see that the companies itself are seeing their own value and seeing the growth. Like Lovable recently got 10 billion or 1 billion, 1.2 or something like that. Um, Valuation, which is like done in less than a year. So
And, I look at the first bubble of AI and how so many companies just get wiped out every time OpenAI does another release or Gemini does another release. And so there's already been a lot of value wipe out, but a lot of billionaire making stuff. But who knows? Like,
yeah, what's gonna
I do not know what the world's going to look like in a year. I don't. And everybody has to be comfortable with that. You just don't. Are you set up to handle it? Yeah, we are. That's all you can do.
I think as a humans, like the best thing we do is even though we don't like, we adapt.
Yeah. And you can enjoy that or you can hate it. And it's up to you.
Yeah. If you enjoy it, you would have more fun. If you hate it, you'll have more stress.
You're gonna wind up like the Dave Letterman, "Hey you kid, get off my lawn."
Yeah, I could see that.
Give you that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna be that. I guarantee. Yeah. And oh, final message for our listeners. What do you have as a final message for our listeners?
Um, you invest the time in yourself today. If you try ChatGPT, try Claude, try Gemini, try Perplexity. Try prompting them all with the same prompt and see the difference between what they all bring forth. Take free YouTube video classes. Take audit Coursera classes. Get your head around. You don't need a plan for yourself yet. There's so much there, so much that AI is going to offer. You'll see a plan for yourself when it when it's clear. But in the meantime, don't be afraid. Don't be a person that says, "Oh, this stuff doesn't work," because maybe it doesn't today. It's going to tomorrow. That's just a given. So
And
getting into that curiosity thing and making learning a part of your day has to be paramount, especially you know for kids in school and for adults that are needing to retool. I have friends older, more mature that like aging out of the system. Like my favorite clients are a little bit older, domain expertise, got some money behind them. They know what they want to build. boom. And they're going out there. They already have the contacts. They have a great network. People trust them and they can create businesses for themselves that are making more money than they made at their job. Give them the freedom. Yeah, somebody else isn't turning the lights on every day. They're responsible for that. But there's never been a situation where if you feel undervalued or being paid less than you deserve, sure, you're going to take some risks. But there's now a path for just about everybody to go do something on their own if that's the path that excites them.
It is a good message because like learning new skill is important, but also taking risks are important. And
Your parents
finding
will die. They'll keep you fed. Don't worry about it.
true. Once a wise man said like you're gonna fall until how much your parents are there. So that's your safety net.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So you can take risk until then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can also make some, well-heeled friends that can help you along the way too. That doesn't hurt.
Yeah. I agree. Always good friend takes you a long way.